Hey everyone, it's Connor here with Chrome Designs, and thank you so much for clicking on this tutorial. Now today I'll be showing you the depth of field in Photoshop. Now I'm going to be explaining two different ways of which you can do this. Now the first way, you'll be basically picking out a certain point of the image and separating it from the rest, whereas the second, you'll be giving it a fade so it fades towards the back if there's multiple areas. So let's head on over and I'll show you how the first way is done. So go to this tab just here. Now this is what the flower image looks like originally. You see it's blurred. This is when it'll be completed. So what you want to do is you want to have your image in Photoshop with the layer, and you want to go to the magic wand tool. Now you click and hold, just go to magic wand. Now by altering the tolerance, you want to maybe be in a bit of a trial and error process. You want to click the area that you want to be in focus. To keep clicking the areas, you just hold down shift on the keyboard and it'll just add that to the current margins. So just keep clicking around. I've got my tolerance to 40 for this picture. Like I just said, you may need to experiment with that a few times before you get it perfect. So just keep clicking away, and as you see there, that's got pretty much most of the flower that I want. And then maybe get this little bit just here. Now with that margin selected, maybe you want to copy what it's highlighted. So you just want to go to edit and copy, and you want to paste that into a new layer so it's separate and you can edit it singly, that is. And as you'll see, that's pasted in a new layer, so that's the flower. Yeah, it's a bit rough around these edges here, but doesn't really matter. But anyway, on the back layer, you basically want to add a blur. So just go to Filter, Blur, and go to Gaussian Blur. And by altering the radius, it's basically the intensity of the blur. So obviously the higher you go, the blurrier, more out of focus it will be. But the lower you go, the more in focus it will be. So I'm going to keep it about 7.2, and that is about it. There you go for the first method. You maybe add a sharpen, maybe just sharpen the edges so it's a bit more distinct from the rest. But yeah, that's looking good from there compared to what it was originally. Now let's show you the second way. Now this is basically so you fade into the distance. So let's start this. This is what it looks like originally. I think it maybe got a little bit of depth of field added to it, however not a lot. So to start this process, you want to duplicate your picture. Now you can either hit Control J, Command J, Control J or Command J, depending on whether you're using a Mac or PC. Or you can just get that layer and drag it into the new layer tab just there. But anyway, on the top layer, you want to hit the layer mask option down here. It's a circle inside a rectangle, and I'll just bring up the layer mask box there. Now you want to go to the gradient tool. I'll tell you what, before you go to the gradient tool, you want to add a blur. So go to Filter, Blur, and add another Gaussian blur. Tell you what, sorry about that guys. There you go, duplicate the layer, that's what you should have. Control J again. Don't hit the layer mask just yet, you want to add the blur before. So go to Filter, Blur, and Gaussian Blur. And you'll just see it will blur the whole image. So depending on the intensity you want the end to become, set it to that one of mine, about 6, 7, 7.4. Okay. And then you want to add the layer mask. And then once you've added the layer mask, go to the gradient tool just here. But if that's not displayed, get paint bucket, click and hold. Go to gradient tool. Now you want to click the down arrow here, and you want to make sure that the gradient is set to linear and black to white. So click the black to white, and then make sure it's on linear by just making sure the first one is ticked. Then if you go to the bottom of the canvas, and if you want the front area to be perfectly visible, you're just going to start up a little bit. And if you hold shift, it'll go perfectly straight. And as you go up, it will become more blurred, as you see there. Now, that's what the image originally looks like. Now, if you want a specific point to be in focus, this is a good way to do it. Like them flowers, maybe you can always just lower the opacity if you want to lower down the blur again. It's a bit of a cheap way to do it, but it works. And yeah, that is about it. It doesn't really work too effectively with this image, but you get the gist of it for those people who are into their photography. And I'm Connor, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye.